Clausen here, and today is day 12 of our core booty challenge, and today we're going to be doing isometric holds. All what you're going to need is one dumbbell and probably a medium to heavier size weight. Alright, so we're going to get started on the floor. I have my timer here, and we're going to be doing a 30-second plank to get started. So you can go ahead and come to your forearms, curl those toes under, pull the shoulders down and back, and we're just holding here, squeezing the glutes. If this is too challenging on the toes, drop to those knees. And you should just be able to go right from your high plank to your low plank and that on the knees. And you're squeezing here, wherever you're at, squeezing the glutes, staying strong through that core. We have 10 seconds to go, and then we're going to be standing on up, and we have a wall sit next. So we're going to do a wall sit for 45 seconds in 3, 2, and 1. Coming on up. And then finding a space on the wall where you can go ahead and put your back on the wall. You want your legs about straight out in front of you, so you're at 90 degrees, and you're just going to hold tight here. So I'm hoping my mat doesn't slide on me. I'm thinking it will be all right. But you want your feet nice and firm, pushing through your heels, activating through those glutes, making sure your knees are facing forward and they're not winging out to the side. So sometimes they tend to go out. So make sure you go here. If you notice you're rolling onto the outside part of your feet, go ahead and put like a yoga block or a pillow between your knees to make sure your inner thighs are activated. So I also like to push up through the inside part of my foot to make sure I'm activating through my inner thighs as well as my glutes. We're staying strong, we're almost there. And then we're gonna need our dumbbell next. So we're gonna be on the floor again with our dumbbell in 4, 3, 2, and done. Coming back to the floor, this time we're gonna do a high plank with a reach through. So I'm gonna quick demo it before we start. So you're gonna be in a high plank. My dumbbell's behind my left wrist. I'm gonna go ahead and reach under with my right hand, place it behind my right wrist, holding that high plank, reach under, pull it back. Now what I'm trying not to do is doing this with my hips. So we want our hips to stay nice and stable as we're doing this move. All right, so we got 30 seconds here. Ready? And let's go ahead. So you're gonna pull and reach. Again, if you're really struggling with stability, go ahead and drop to your knees. So you can do this from your knees as well, pulling that dumbbell through, and that's gonna help stabilize. You can also take your feet a little bit wider, and that's gonna help to make sure those hips are staying level. That's the key to this movement, is we're trying to stay nice and level and firm through that core. We're almost there. 5 seconds to go. 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and drop down to those knees. We'll stand on up. We got pulsing lunges next. So we're just gonna be doing this 30 seconds on each leg. So one leg is gonna go forward, one leg is back, and you're just gonna be sinking down and up. You can also grab your weight, and whatever leg is forward, that hand has the dumbbell. So if you want a little extra weight for this one, you can always do that. Ready? And let's go. So we're just sinking and standing. Little pulses down and up. So again, wherever you're at, I have my toes kind of facing both the same direction. I'll face you so you can kind of see too, that both my knees are facing forwards. My back heel is lifted. So my back heel is lifted. We're almost done on this side. We got 10 seconds. And then we'll be switching sides in 5, 3, 2, and we're gonna switch. Step your other foot forward, curling the back toes under, and sinking down and up. 30 seconds here. So now when you're here and you feel pretty good, wanna go ahead and pull that right hip back as you pull your left hip forwards. So we're stabilizing through that pelvis, activating through the front glute. So right now my right glute is firing. Might feel it in the top of that right leg as well. 5 seconds. 3, 2, and 1. All right, coming back to the floor. A bridge pulse is next. We're gonna be doing these for 1 minute. So you're gonna go ahead, maybe you grab your dumbbell, maybe not, but you're gonna lay down on your back. Feet are on the floor, and you're gonna go ahead and lift those hips to the sky. And actually, we're just holding our bridge. We're not even doing a pulse, so we're just gonna hold here. So 1 minute, and then as you're here, the dumbbell's just gonna stay at your hip bones. You're gonna have to hold the dumbbell there. It's not gonna stay on its own. And then same thing with those knees as we talked about in the wall sit, making sure they're facing forwards, and you're pretending you're squeezing a block in between them, so they're not going out to the side. So make sure you're pushing up through the inside part of your foot and through your heel. Sometimes I even like to lift up my toes just to make sure I'm getting the right muscles firing. And if you feel this in your knees, You want to go ahead and walk your feet away from your booty just a little bit to make sure that pressure is not going to the knees. So you should feel this in the glutes. If you feel it in the low back, go ahead and just lower your hips down like maybe an inch. So just kind of play with it there, because this should feel really nice on the glutes, especially on that lower glute. You should feel them firing. We have 2 seconds, and lower it back down. And then we're going to go ahead, flip on over, and we're back to that plank. So we got a 30-second plank coming up next. So coming back to those forearms on your toes or your knees, and we're going to go ahead and find our plank position. So squeezing those glutes, shoulders pull down the back, staying here, and breathing. So maybe this feels really interesting on the shoulders. I started with holding my hands together and making kind of like a triangle. I've been working on opening up my shoulders and pulling them so they're making sure they're parallel to each other. So play with that as well, because I know shoulder impingement can be tricky to deal with in the plank. And go ahead and rest. Standing on up, we got a wall sit next. So we're coming up to that wall sit. 45 seconds, finding that wall, taking those feet out, keeping that back nice and tall, pushing through those heels. Knees stay facing forward, and shoulders pull back. So you want to make sure your back is against the wall, and you're not leaning too far forwards off of the wall. And settling in here, finding your breath. Maybe this feels great, maybe it doesn't. Everyone's version or feeling in a wall sit's a little different. So if you feel it really heavily in your quads, maybe you rotate and lift your toes up, and that should fire up the hamstrings and the glutes. So really kind of playing with that. We're almost there. You can do it because we have 5 seconds to go. I know you can. In 3, 2, and 1. Coming up and away from the wall. Shaking out those legs a little bit. Back to the floor. High plank pull-throughs are next. So we got 30 seconds. Coming up to that high plank, or from your knees, pulling that dumbbell to behind the opposite wrist. So you're reaching under every time. So reach it under and pull. Under and pull across. So we're working on that anti-rotation with the core, which means basically you're staying stable. So that's why I talked about the hips so much. This is because that is the anti-rotation work that we're aiming for in this move. We got 5 seconds. 3, and we're going to go ahead and drop down to those knees. Stand on up. Lunge pulses is next. So taking your right or your left foot forward. I'm going to go at an angle for you, but both of my toes are facing that same direction, and we're pulsing down and up. So that back knee does not have to touch the floor. So if that feels really hard on the knee, do not have to touch that floor. I always hover above it because I found it really does, if you have tight quads, really does stretch that quad. So making sure you find your range of motion here. Pushing through that front heel. We're almost there. In 3, 2, and 1. Switching sides, other leg goes forward. Same thing, toes are facing forward, pulsing down and up. So pushing through your front heel, finding your rhythm, settling in here. Our minute bridge hold is next. And then should we do it one more time? What do you think? I think yes. I think we can do it one more time. 5 seconds. 3, 2, and 1. Coming down. Bridge. Holding that bridge. Weight is optional. 1 minute. Heels down. Hips are up. Holding here. Once more, those knees face forward. Those knees are aligned with your hips. Everything is in one nice angle. Weights in the heels. Making sure you're not overarching through that low back. Shoulders are staying away from the ears. Hanging out here for just 30 more seconds. And then we'll be flipping over for a plank. And we'll do this circuit one more time, and then you're going to be done for day 12. So we got our little isometric endurance holds today. So I kind of like to do a little variety. I've tried to keep it really low impact and not a ton of jumping because I know it's hard on people's joints. 10 seconds. So that's where I've done, I've tried to do some creative planning so we don't have to do the jumping. In 3, in 2, and 1, lower it down, rolling on next. One more time through, we got a 30-second plank. Finding your plank, pulling those shoulders down your back, toes curled under, and you should be nice and flat, so making sure that your back is not arching. So sometimes I see some arching in that mid to low back, especially for, you know, your third round of these. So make sure you're squeezing those glutes, activating through that core, and not rounding through your shoulders. We have 10 seconds to go. Then we're up for our wall sit in 3, 2, and drop into those knees, coming on up, finding that wall. 45 seconds here, taking those feet out, low back is pushed back onto the wall. Shoulders, stay away from the ears. And then hanging out here. So sometimes you can maybe do a little dance. If you have kiddos, they might try to jump onto your legs, just a little extra weight. I also have clients who are grandmas who challenge their grandkids to wall sits. So maybe that could be a little fun family time as well, as hold a wall sit. Who can hold the wall sit the longest? So that's just some inspiration for you. Any of these actually would work. Planks too. But I find wall sits sometimes are a little bit easier for kiddos to do than a plank to maintain. So sometimes they enjoy this one a little bit more. We're doing well, we almost are there. We have 5 seconds. And then we have a high plank reach throughs in 3, 2, and coming away from that wall, back to the floor. Coming to that high plank from your toes or from your knees. We're gonna be starting in 2 and hit it. Pulling that arm, reaching under, pull it across. Hips are level, especially for this third round. Really staying strong. Try not to hike the hips up to the sky either. Maintain that flat back. 10 seconds. Making sure you're breathing. And then we're going to be up for our pulsing lunges in 3, 2, and coming on up. Pulsing lunges, either foot forward to start, curling the back toe under, and then pulsing down and up. Good, and making sure those hips stay nice and even. And I know I talk about that a lot, but it is so important. It helps protect that SI joint and the low back. Last 10, because sometimes when we're loosey-goosey in our joints, we can actually injure ourselves easier than if we're super tight. And switch. Because I've had a friend who is a yoga teacher, and she just sat down and cracked her pelvis. And she didn't have that strength in her pelvis and in that SI joint. She had the mobility, but not the strength. So that's why I'm really cautious, or really maybe over cue even, making sure you know where that pelvis is. And I work a lot with postpartum mamas, and that is something also that we really hit. 3, 2, and done. Down to the floor. Reach, hold, 1 minute, and then we are done for today. So weight or no weight, hips are lifted. Shoulders stay away from the ears. And then just hanging out here and relaxing. Congratulating yourself that, hey, you did it. You are through day 12. So you're about over halfway through our challenge. So keep up the good work and just carving out this time. So even after the challenge is over, making sure you carve out the time for you, even if it's just these little nuggets of movement in your day. You know, they do add up. So we're staying strong. You have 15 seconds to go. Maybe saying one thing that you're grateful for today in your head as you're holding for the last 10 seconds. And then you can go ahead and lower down, roll on up, and that is it. We made it through day 12. I will see you tomorrow.